Okay. Good evening, everyone. So we have a quorum, and this is the July 10th Dover, Massachusetts Conservation Commission hearing. So I'd like to open the meeting, and our first item of business was going to be a presentation from the Native Fish Coalition, which does not appear to be here. So, but the parties for the 8 o'clock slot, which is the 16 Donnelly Drive geothermal wells, do appear to be here. So why don't we, let's see, Laura, if you could just read off our permission for this, for
Sure.
holding Zoom meetings, please.
Following guidance issued by the governor regarding the open meeting law, this public meeting will be held remotely. Individuals wishing to participate may do so using Zoom video conferencing technology. To join the meeting by video conference using a computer or tablet, you may use the link. To join by telephone only, please call the number and enter the meeting ID and the passcode, and the meeting is being recorded.
Okay, thank you. So Janet, I just got your text. I'm assuming I can pay no attention to that now.
Yeah.
Okay, then Janet, why don't you fill us in on your review of 16 Donnelly, please?
Oh, are we not doing the Native Fish Coalition?
No, I'm sorry, you for some reason you lagged coming in from the waiting room, but no, they have not appeared yet.
Oh.
So we are going to move forward with this, and if they show up, we'll squeeze them in.
Okay, that sounds good. So this is very straightforward. This is an open order of conditions. They are coming in for an amendment to install 4 geothermal wells, all outside the 40-foot no structure. The areas of disturbance are in previously disturbed lawn area, and they will restore the lawn to match existing conditions. No trees are being impacted. The closest point from disturbance to wetlands is 72 feet. I did go out and look at the site. It's very level. So I'm recommending approval. There are 7 conditions that are just very straightforward. There is already a compost sock and orange construction fencing for the original project. They propose an additional line of erosion control, just straw wattles and silt fence, very close to where the geothermal wells will be drilled.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then the others are pretty typical then, the additional conditions.
Right. Yep.
Okay. Then let's see, Joyce or Dan, I don't know who's the lead on this. Would you like to share with us anything else?
I'll actually let Joyce do the speaking.
Okay.
Yes. So Janet was very thorough in her presentation. I do have a plan if you would like to see it.
Okay.
I just need permission to share.
Okay. Were you able to do that, or?
No, I can't.
No, I'm talking to Lori. I'm sorry.
So Zoom went and changed my toolbar, so I'm trying to find allow participants to share. Here we go. They put it in a different spot just to throw me off.
Huh.
You able to see the plan?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So the
everyone else, okay.
What's in red is new, and as Janet explained, the wells are on the kind of in the middle of the side yard. The edge of the lawn is down here. The wetlands are over here. This is the 70-foot setback. The access will be from the street here with the well rig. We have an additional erosion control barrier, and if there's any spoils, they'll be removed from the site. If there's any need to dewater, it will be done outside the 100-foot buffer zone. Those are the only additional things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's
it. Thank you. Any questions, commissioners?
No,
Okay.
geothermal's good.
All in favor?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Move to close the
So-
hearing.
Yep,
Second,
thank you. All in favor? Sarah,
aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
Move to approve the amendment with the conditions outlined in the agent's report.
Second,
Thank you. All in favor? Sarah,
aye.
Anna?
Aye.
Tim?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. There you go. Enjoy
you
your
very much.
evening.
Good night.
Okay, great. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Oh,
Um,
oh, I just had a quick question for Joyce before she.
okay. Oh, well,
Did she?
yeah, she's off.
Oh, okay.
Is it something you can, I can text her, or is it something you can,
No, it was just 14 Hamlin's Crossing. It's under my agent's report. I mean, yeah, 14 Hamlin's Crossing. We are waiting for the revised restoration plan. That was due.
let's see if I can, get her. And,
Joyce is rejoining. I just
oh,
hit.
there she is. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Hi, Joyce. Oh, Go
As I
ahead.
was leaving, I thought I heard Janet say, "Oh, Joyce,"
yes, you did. Very,
but it was too late.
mhm.
Well, thank you for returning. Just wondering what the schedule is on the 14 Hamlin's Crossing revised restoration plan.
So so 14 Hamlin's Crossing. So you remember we had some discussions about the debris, the logs and the debris that were in over the side of the retaining wall towards in the buffer zone. Those have all been removed. That's helpful. And then I will complete my revising that planting plan and getting back to you before next week so it can be on the next agenda.
Okay. Excellent. And is there a chance you can just email a photo of
Sure.
that? I don't know if you, yeah, that's always helpful. Okay. And I saw, Janet, you got up out of screen a bit, but could you still hear that?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions for Joyce before we ask her to come back again? Janet?
Nope, that's it.
Oh,
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Joyce.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's see. Next, let's see, Paul. So we have a actually, I'm not sure what Deb is here for. Is that I don't see her on the agenda? Did Lori, any idea?
Yeah, she's probably here for.
What was that?
Oh, why Debbie Anderson is here?
Oh, Ken Draper.
Oh, okay, she's associated with that. Okay, great. And actually, since Paul sent us some info on that, but he's on vacation this week. And Janet, did you have a chance to read that?
Yes, so as you recall, a COC had been requested, and then areas that were not to be lawn were converted to lawn, and a restoration plan was submitted. Paul took the lead on that. I also have been out to the site, and that plan has been implemented as required. The plantings need 2 growing seasons of further monitoring. But we had agreed in the enforcement order that we would go ahead and approve a certificate of compliance as long as the all the plantings had been installed
Mhm.
and confirmed, because the owner has another project they want to submit an NOI for, and wanted to clear the decks on this COC.
Okay.
So Paul's memo of June 29th, he had reviewed all the material that was submitted by Deb and the monitoring reports, and his recommendation that they have met all requirements in terms of the restoration, and he recommends approval of the COC. I had sent out a total of 7 permanent conditions that I would recommend be included in the COC. 3 of those were listed in the enforcement order, and then 4 of the permanent conditions were in the original order of conditions.
Mm-hmm. And those are typically, there's nothing different about those than anything we put on other COCs and orders of condition. Is that
That's right.
correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you mind if I interrupt for one sec?
Um,
I
Sure, I
know
was gonna call you in around 20 seconds, but that's fine.
Well, I know that Martin was planning on joining. I think he thought they were on closer to 8:15.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you want to hold off or if it's cut and dry and he doesn't need to be here, but I just wanted to put that out there.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I think, well, why don't we proceed, because it does currently seem cut and dried.
Okay.
And, you know, and if he really wants to see us just because we're nice folks, he's more than welcome to, you know, log on later. But let's finish up, and if we do have any questions, we can always come back to this at the scheduled time there. We just
Okay, sounds
we had
good.
we had a cancellation earlier. I'm glad you happened to, you know, come on before your normal time, but we had a presentation that was scheduled for earlier that they did not arrive. So
Mm,
that's why we're in the middle of this. And so let's finish up discussion on this and see where we end up. So Jenny, is there any if we go ahead and grant the COC, is there anything that states that the monitoring is still in force?
Yes, the terms of the enforcement order are clear as to what the monitoring requirements are. And so the enforcement order will remain active. It'll be an active enforcement order until that's released after the 2 years of monitoring. I would recommend, so Martin did have a question on one of the 4 permanent conditions in the original order of conditions. So I would think we should perhaps wait until he comes on.
And can you give us a heads up on what that question was?
It was with regard to when there is a new owner, and that a deed restriction or covenant needs to be completed. So he had a question on that, and he actually recommended some editing of that, but the language on this was what was in the original order of conditions, so we really can't revise that.
Okay, I think why don't we tell you what, why don't we, Deb, do you have Martin's cell number by any chance, or any way of getting in touch with him? Okay, if you could just let him know that we've come on a little early, and then we may be able to address that in a moment.
okay,
and-
I'll call him now and have him sign in.
Yeah, and then I think what we can do just to keep things moving, we could start with our land management work group update. And then if Martin comes in, we can just set that aside and finish up on Draper Road. Does that work for
Okay.
everybody?
Sounds good. I'll be back.
Okay, thank you. Okay, take it away, Anna.
Well, I'm very excited to say we have a pretty good land management update. Easy stuff. We purchased our supplies and are working on getting them expensed. I think Greg and I both forgot to order fasteners, so we'll deal with that later. I think we have some left over. I don't know. I'll figure that out next. But the big news is we put in the bog bridge over the long weekend. It sort of snap came together. So I have photos if everyone wants to see them. Let's see. So this was Greg, Rick, me, and John Sampson went out and worked on pulling this together. John Sampson is a friend of Greg's. So this was 2023, the bog bridge, and his dog not a fan of crossing it. Couple photos of it before as it's being taken out, and there we are now. So it is out there and stable. So we
Mhm.
were kind of shocked at the fact it exists, despite having done all of the work to make it exist. And yeah, we're really thrilled. So I'll send out some more photos and send it to everyone here and send it to Open Space so we all can see
Mhm.
what happened. But it's right
Excellent.
there if anyone wants to go see it.
Well done. Do you have any way of showing where that's located on a map that we can then have in the office?
Yes, I got a map in our original proposal, but let me
And is this
Do I-
one of the bridges that's off the Blue Trail at Wildwood?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
I actually don't have the map in the original proposal.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll point it out.
Okay, and so I noted on, did you guys then put it on just the corrugated plastic drainage pipe? Is that what's, and how's it attached to that?
Let's see, there's pressure treated 2x4 between the stringer, which has the decking on top, between that and just sort of bolted into the plastic.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
sweet.
just kind of resting in the mud. So we're
Mhm.
planning on a Thanksgiving tune-up to make sure it's settled correctly.
Mm-hmm, great, thank you. Anything else for open space?
We
No
will be
pressure.
talking. Yeah, no, that was our big thing. We were very proud of that. No,
Right.
we'll be talking at our next meeting on the strategic RFP, but getting this done was pretty exciting. We're kicking around what to do with leftover lumber. DLCT might have a whole bunch of white oak to donate to us, so we might do something with that. And we have not yet decided what, if anything, we want to do in terms of like recommended trails for Dover Days, but we have not totally forgotten.
So on the White Oak, would that require, does anyone associated with us have a portable sawmill or is it for lumber?
Stephen
Or
Bates
what's-
seems to have white oak lumber he doesn't need, which was surprising, and we would never say no to that.
Okay. Great, we can put it in the salt shed. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll keep our eyes and ears open for that. Thank you very much for, marshaling
Yeah.
this whole thing through and appreciate it greatly.
We can make some arts and crafts furniture.
There we
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Well, like a couple, love seats along the trail or something
Yeah.
like that, so cool.
Green and
Um,
green style.
Let's start with, just round logs and then we'll move up to joinery. And but there's a project. Hi, Deb, did you manage to make contact?
Yes, I did. He should be on in just a minute.
Okay, excellent. And let's see. While we're waiting for Martin, Janet, do you want to bring us up to speed on 31 Springdale?
Yes, so I just wanted to confirm that Lori, you had sent the letter out to the owner. And I'm wondering if we've heard anything back. As you'll recall, back at the end of March, we issued an enforcement order for a major alteration of wetlands. A stream was culverted, some areas were filled. The original deadline for the restoration plan was May 15th. The owner, Will Mitchell, had indicated he thought he would make that. He had hired Goddard. But we have not heard anything from him. And I go by there constantly. And I'm also concerned the RDA he had submitted, he was going to revise that and get that back to us. He had wanted to have a turnaround driveway with a new street opening, and you indicated that would not be acceptable. He was going to put a split rail fence up between two granite posts, but that hasn't happened. And it looks to me like he's using that driveway. So
The secondary driveway or the primary?
yes, but
Mhm.
so it's two concerns. The first is he's way behind on the restoration plan that we had wanted, and then also on his revised RDA. So maybe the next step is to ask him to attend the next meeting.
Mhm.
To provide us with an update, although we have already done that at least once.
So I just saw Lori raise her hand.
So the letter went out on July 3rd.
Mhm.
So
Okay, let's
I
see
have
if we
not
get it.
heard anything back, but that was July 3rd, and if it's a big vacation week, I don't know. I mean, I can give a
Let's,
little email, you know,
do you have a phone number for him, Lori?
I may
Can you just
have
give him a
him
call
file.
why don't we give him, if you can, put it on your calendar to call him next Monday?
Yeah.
And, that gives him a few days to review and
Yeah,
that just says,
maybe ask him to come to the next meeting.
yeah,
wanna
I think
talk to
that's
him and
appropriate.
See if he received the letter and all of that, but I just wanted to let you know that it didn't go out, the
Mhm.
day after the last meeting.
Got it.
So,
Okay. Okay, thanks, Janet. We're gonna switch back to Marty and Debbie. Marty, our initial presentation that was scheduled for this evening did not show up, so we jumped ahead on things. So we've
Understood.
already talked about you behind your back. So Janet went over Paul's letter to us recommending approval, and I guess you had a concern relative to that you wanted to touch base on relative to the wording for the what's required to be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it was just making reference to, I think the point of the language there is to say, hey, these covenants are gonna be in effect. The language proposed is referencing the order that would be extinguished. So I just proposed language saying, hey, these covenants will be in effect, and remove that prior language because the order will be closed out. So it was just a sort of technical fix, unless I'm missing something. Again, no pride of authorship. So if Janet wants to propose other language, but it was not supposed to be a controversial change in any way.
So I think, yeah, generally what that does is it more importantly than anything, it makes reference to it so that future closing attorneys are aware that something like this existed. And I think in your situation, so Vanessa, if once we grant the COC on this, still having that, I'm just looking at through Janet's requirements there, having that covenant. Since I don't have the wording right in front of me. Normally, it's a non-issue. It's just making reference that there was work to be done that was approved. And in essence, you've done that. You've brought this much closer to compliance from the original order of conditions. So, and then the COC being on record will show that you actually did the work. But the covenant stays on record just to let people know that they're near wetlands and that they'll have to deal with this for any other work and wetland within the buffer in the future.
I certainly don't dispute it. It's just saying this order shall apply, but isn't the order being closed out? We have a letter of completion, but the existing order otherwise is going away, right?
Well, it does, but that order has permanent conditions, and those the permanent conditions are what are applied.
I see. Okay, yeah, totally get it. So you're saying the obligations in that order, which we're repeating, that's fine as long as we're on the same page. All good with me.
Now, it brings up an interesting thing because it sounds like it would sometime in the near future you should be coming back in front of us with another project.
We actually are going to have another project more recent. We have found, I was going to bring it up to you actually once we conclude here. We have a rubber roof that's underneath our deck, which is apparently now reaching its 30-year end of life. We have noticed water damage coming. I think it wasn't pitched correctly, so a lot of the boards are damaged. And when we got in there, we noticed that the substructure is kind of falling apart. One of the beams is tilting about 10 degrees. And some of the concrete, some of the posts actually on the bottom level of our deck are not even touching the concrete, like you can slide your hand under. It's not a safety issue tomorrow, but it's something where the deck is going to fall in the future. So what would, now that's sort of becoming a priority. So we have in the interim solicited bids for a replacement of the deck, with the understanding that it would be the exact same perimeter. So so that's no issue for you guys. It would be the exact same perimeter that the existing deck is. It would be within the current, that we have a fence on that side between us and the wetlands. So it would be the exact same area as the existing deck, so that there are no sort of conservation issues. Obviously, we'll go through the appropriate process that we can discuss with Janet, whether that's an RDA or an NOI. But I just wanted to mention that, since it's something that has now unfortunately come up and is taking priority.
Okay, thanks. No, and part of the reason I asked was it brings up an interesting, since we were talking about that covenant, whether there would be an additional covenant if any sort of order is issued in the future, which I don't know if we've actually dealt with before, but we can deal with that in the future once you make application, because so why don't we don't need to address that. I think relative to the COC, are there any other questions concerning the COC, Janet, on your end?
No, so I do want to clarify that going back to when the COC was first requested, we became aware that there was a new owner. Martin did go through and submit and record the required confirmatory deed. I can't remember what it was called, whether it was a deed covenant or
deed restriction. Yeah, yep, correct.
Yes, so that is on the record. So that's not a step he has to do. But in terms of the COC, because the language here, the number 4 permanent condition, that's the exact language in the order. I think that should be continued.
Yeah, and Janet, we're happy to have them. I knew the conditions were already there, but if you want to have all 7 in the COC, because as John said, it just then going forward, future owners just look at one document, because the COC will run with the property, whereas our deed restriction just applies to us. So that way, whoever buys the house next in 30 years, they will see this is all there, whereas the deed restriction will eventually go away when we, discharge our mortgage. So we're, like I said, happy to include all of that in the COC, so everyone knows.
So I'm not clear about that being extinguished upon sale, the deed restriction. Janet, is that your take on
it? For purposes of a new owner and anyone doing a title search, that would come up. If at the time of transfer, perhaps it could be discharged, but the point would be that a new owner is now on notice. But Martin's right, the COC does the same thing. So
yeah, I think it was especially in light of the particular legal concerns that were originally voiced, and it's been a while. I can't remember the statute of repose, which would then get instituted. I think becomes moot because of the existence of the COC.
Yep, and that's why we said it should be in there, so that there's no confusion in the future like there was in the past. This will be one stop, and it runs with the property, so it would be in effect in all cases.
So I have no problem with that, and I think the COC having these items outlined in the COC that gets recorded seems to cover those bases. Do you agree, Janet?
yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions on part of commissioners or anyone? Okay, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, just
Move to issue a certificate of compliance for 10 Draper Road. And the 4 conditions outlined in the agent's report shall be added to the certificate of compliance document.
Now,
I think 7 conditions, right?
yeah, because she's adding the
3
4
additional conditions.
Yeah, so there's 4 permanent plus there's the 3, so a total of 7 outlined in the agent's regulatory report. Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, Anna?
Aye.
Tim,
Aye.
Sarah, are you there? So we're just waiting for a critical quorum person to come back to the to their Zoom. And while we're waiting, I will vote yes. And
Yeah, can I say something? You know, obviously this kind of came in a not so great way. I hope you guys understand, and you know, as was evidenced by, you know, Jenna commented, we've taken the restoration very seriously, and it's looking awesome. We are going to be appearing in front of you for multiple projects, and we hope that, you know, you understand we've taken our obligations as the new owners very seriously in terms of being stewards of the property. We didn't go short in any way. We got the best products possible, and we've done the best we can. So we hope that, you know, we can have a really good relationship with.
I was going to comment. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to comment from what I've been hearing that it's so funny how long it took us to get there, but how quickly it got accomplished, and that was appreciated. So there's zero prejudice involved in any of this. But and I do appreciate it. Once you step forward and started speaking to us,
Yeah.
and so so we're still waiting, Sarah. I don't know if anyone can text Sarah. Does anyone have her? I don't think I have her cell number. Okay, thanks, Lori.
And I guess while we're waiting is the next step. I think Janet, will, I guess, with you and Lori, just paper the actual certificate, which I think Artie will then handle filing. Is that right? And also schedule a meeting for you to come with Debbie to the property to locate the required signage.
Yes, that all sounds great. Yep.
Great.
Okey-doke. And Artie, were you here associated with Ten Draper, or are you for something
Yeah,
else?
not Ten Draper. We wanted to be on the safe side
Yeah,
in case
no,
there were any questions.
Yeah, no, we just haven't. It's nice to see you. It's been a while. Yeah, we're just so yes, it's the irony is it's been a long haul, and now we're just waiting for a fourth vote.
And you'll be seeing Artie and Deb a lot more because we've engaged them on the pool refresh and now this deck project as well, the deck refresh.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I thought I had an inkling that the pool refresh was coming up. I didn't know about the porch, and I didn't know what the order would be.
Yeah, it was a surprise to us. But then when we got underneath, I don't have, I think, John, I understand you're like a builder, and I certainly don't have that technical skills. But as soon as I got in there, the contractor was like, "Do you see that? It's not supposed to look like that." I was like, "Oh, even I can tell that doesn't look great."
So that's unfortunate, but entropy enters into all things.
And Martin, I don't know if there's some urgency with the deck or the pool, but you could certainly combine those into one, certainly combined it would be an NOI, but just something to think about. I don't know what your timeline is on those.
Yeah, I think, I'm not going to hold you to it, but I think when we talked about the deck, the pool, which is a little farther away, that was going to be, again, same perimeter. You were thinking, I think, preliminarily an RDA. We're hoping that you will think that an RDA is the right thing for the deck as well, because we're keeping same perimeter, but we do acknowledge it's closer. But again, we have a fence, a chain link fence, and we're going to stay within that, put erosion controls. So we're hopeful that it can be, either two separate RDAs or a master RDA. But yeah, we're going to be moving very quickly. I'm signing up our contract with the contractor soon because, also our deck is 3 levels and our son goes down. He's 2 years old and we've already kind of had him do a tumble. So there's also just kind of that safety issue around it.
Okay. Well, that you can deal with relative to, especially if it's all within the hardscape component of things. I'm not that familiar with it since I've been there for a number of years, but an RDA is worth a review. Were you able to, Lori, get in touch with Sarah, or?
So I tried calling, it went to voicemail, so I sent a text and it doesn't look from the screen unless she's having like technical difficulties or something. It doesn't look like she's back on.
Well, I apologize, Marty and Deb and Artie. The general consensus here is that, you know, we're one vote away from it. And as soon as we get that, we can notify you of that, but we can also, you know, so you don't have to hang on. Up, there we go.
Yes, aha.
Hey,
She wanted
Sarah.
to come with a picture.
So Sarah, we voted on approving the COC for 10 Draper Road, and we're one vote shy.
I'm so
Um,
sorry. Of all things, I had my whole bedroom upstairs. I heard a pop and the electricity just went off. So
Ooh,
yeah.
Oh.
But so the breaker blew, but we're not gonna have a fire. So sorry.
oh, good.
I
That's
Earlier
apologize for
today.
diverting. But yes, so we'll have to figure that out. But so you have my approval.
Okay,
I
thank you.
apologize.
Thank you very much. So all four votes for yay.
Yay.
So Lori will go ahead and complete the paperwork for that and let people know when things can be picked up. So thank you very much for everything and looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay, good night,
I
everyone.
have a quick question on 61 County when you have time.
Sure. Yeah, I saw you sent the letter in relative to why not, because regarding vernal pool, was that right, Deb?
Yeah, we just we found some nice vernal pool signage and it was one of the conditions of the order. And I know I just sent it in today. I didn't know if we had to wait till the next meeting to get an okay on what we have proposed. Because he does need to order it, Paul, so I know it might take a little bit to get it, so.
And Janet, did you have a chance to see that PDF?
I did not.
Okay.
Okay,
Can you share it with us now, Deb? Do you know?
I
Oh.
am not, oh, sorry. Yeah, I am not on my computer, I am on my phone,
Oh, I
so
see.
I don't have it, honestly.
I think for that,
I sent it to Lori as well, I don't know if she has it available to pull up or not.
I think I sent it out to commission members, so.
Right.
Oh, here's Amy. I'm wondering if anybody would mind sharing that.
Did that come in this afternoon?
It was this afternoon, yeah, and I had put a little note that, you know, if you wanted to discuss it under the agent report, you know, but if you didn't, then.
Well, I think even then signage, unless it's significantly different, signage is normally dealt with directly with, Janet has the ability to approve that. Is that
Okay.
correct? And
Or
let me just see, is anyone looking for that?
which one is it?
I am looking for, oh, you know what?
It was an email sent today, from Deb, and it has the signage and I. put
It's
a little
vernal
note.
pool signage
Yeah.
approval or something like that, I think it says
Yeah,
it
I
has
got it.
pictures
it
of
says
the sign.
it's from Lori. It's a forward 61 County Street.
Yeah,
You mean
Tim
on-
has it, I think.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay.
So it has the signage, it has pictures of the locations we're proposing for the signs
I
and
have
just
it as
like
well.
a little map showing the locations of the signage.
Okay. Let's see what if Tim can pull it up. There we go.
Yeah, so that's just basically pointing out the condition requiring the educational signage.
And we just scroll down. Okay. Oh, that's
Okay.
sweet. Okay.
Yeah, so there's two variations. They're very similar. So we chose 3 locations to put them in. We would customize it a little bit just to kind of reflect that the signs are, are part of this development. The vernal pools are part of this development.
I see.
That's the company that we got them from, or will get them from. So it kind of showed how the signs would be installed. These are pictures of the 3 locations that I walked with Paul, and we thought that they would get that first one is right over the vernal pool, right over the wall. And then the next one down is to the right of the little walking path that goes to the dog park in the corner. And then there's one more picture below that. And that is kind of in the middle, behind the parking area. So the vernal pool is located at the bottom of the slope. So we
Is
thought
there-
those were 3 good locations.
And is there a trail that goes down from there to the vernal pool? Or is this surrounded by, is the fence, surround everything there?
Yeah, it is pretty steep. So there is not a trail. Currently they're kind of more like overlooks.
Got it, yeah, okay.
So there are 2 variations of the sign. So we were gonna use, I think, maybe the next picture. Yeah, so that kind of shows the locations where the photos were taken and where we think would make good locations for those signs.
Tim, can you maximize the window if you just go up to the square on the top?
If I can get
To
to
the,
it.
to the,
Got stuff
over just-
covering things.
Oh, will it?
Yeah.
Just curious, oh, yeah, I'm seeing 2 different cursors, interesting. So you're not full screen on this on your computer?
No,
Okay, and if you went full
No.
screen?
I'm sorry?
Oh, interesting, yeah, so I'm seeing, yeah, no worries, I'm just seeing 2 different cursors, so I got a little
Yeah, I
confused
can't,
there.
I have the,
So that-
sharing this is right over the upper right-hand corner of the window.
Yeah, see, okay, so and then where's the vernal pool relative to these overlooks?
So the vernal pool, if you look at the middle red dot, up against the corner, it's right below there. So that's the retaining wall.
So is that option
And-
A?
Yeah, exactly. So it's
Okay.
right below there.
And then, Tim, can you jump back up to the signs?
Uh,
Actually, probably page 4, I think it is.
I gotta rotate,
Connor, yeah, oh,
rotate. And make
There
it
we go.
smaller. This one?
Up. Yeah, so I was just looking, the one that showed the actual sign on the ground, is that the scale of what we're looking at, Deb? Something that's like 30 inches wide?
I think Paul was gonna look into price on them, and
Yeah,
you
so
know,
that,
I think at 30-inch would be, maybe the minimum
yeah.
that
So,
we would be
yeah.
looking at. They have a couple different options.
Yeah, I saw those, at 58 and so forth. So, okay, so that looks lovely. I think that can all be handled in the field with the sign review from Janet. And I appreciate sharing that so we can see that. But that looks lovely. Any
Okay.
questions from commissioners? And
Yeah.
Janet,
Looks great.
any input?
So I had under my agent's report, I haven't talked to Paul McGovern in a while, but about probably 6 weeks ago, I indicated that we would be looking for a COC request. I believe some units are occupied now. He has a temporary occupancy permit from the building department. And, at
So I
least-
think we just got the plantings in a couple weeks ago. So we've been trying to clean up, all the conditions that we need to get the COC. So, part of that has been on me. So we did get all the plantings installed. And I will be giving you the monitoring report for that. We're putting the bird boxes in that are required. this signage was required. So I think we were just trying to pull together the pieces, so that we could request that COC.
Yeah, the big concern is probably the stormwater system. And we had Sean Reardon as a third-party reviewer. from- But there has not been, we have not gotten the required monthly progress reports, and Paul's aware of this, for about 6 months. So it's time for like a real review, I think, probably of Sean Reardon. And I don't know if we want maybe to have Paul McGovern in just to talk about the state of the project.
All
Or,
right. I was under the impression that he was planning to meet with you, and I guess that didn't happen.
no. But more importantly, you know, Paul had done the wetland third-party review piece, and then Sean was doing the stormwater. So I was just gonna suggest that a letter go out to Paul. I mean,
Which Paul, would Paul McGovern, Paul McManus?
yeah, Paul McGovern, or, you know, I can touch base with him again, but this is again something that's been dragging on for, I know he's very busy trying to get the building occupied, but or Deb, if you can mention to him that we would like to see that COC request, or at least a partial, before he gets his full occupancy permit.
Yeah, no, he did mention to me that he was going to need that, so he's been pushing me to get, you know, my part done. So I know that he is aware of that. So I'll touch base with him again tomorrow, and I'll have him get in touch with you, Janet. And
I think even a partial at this point, sooner rather than later. And if there are outstanding issues, then we can deal with those. But I'm concerned that he's going to be getting his occupancy permit without our reviewing the stormwater installation.
okay, so that's the important part, that you want the partial to reflect.
Yes.
Okay, all right, I will.
I think you've mentioned what you're doing on the planting side and things of that component of compliance. But the other part is a permanent infrastructure thing that and given we haven't received any reports, I think, you know, very useful to get updated on all that and lead to a partial certificate.
Okay, I will get in touch with him tomorrow and follow up. And Janet, I guess I'll follow up with you about the signs.
Right, and then there was also signage, no pesticide signs, and also no dumping signs that were also required. So.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with him, and he can get in touch with you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Good.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Yeah, have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, let's see, carrying on, why don't we jump to 29 Saddle Ridge. We just got a continuance request. Was that today, Laurie?
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
We just got that. Mark Arnold is gonna take the lead on that. Zoe is gonna be stepping back on that, and he said they're gonna be submitting some information, and if they could continue to August 14th.
Okay, and I think in his letter, he mentioned he was looking for 4 weeks out because he wanted everyone to have a chance to review the information they send. And I don't know if I'd mentioned this at a previous meeting, but I'd sent some photos to Paul McManus and to talk to him. Also sent them to Zoe that showed pictures of that after January, I think it was January 10th, and showing where the stakes were and how much farther the water was from there, and some measurements that were shown on in the photos that seemed to clarify that it most likely fulfilled the requirements for an ILSF, which seemed to be one of the things contested here. So I got the sense from Mark's letter that they're trying to figure that one out and then come back with whichever way they're going to come back with. So so they have that that evidence. Paul's reviewed it. And I see no problem. I understand the desire to give us time to review whatever they come up with, and so I don't have a problem with that being continued to that date. Does anyone else?
It's
Okay.
fine. I think we just need to make sure we do see them in August.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the thing there is we can get in touch with them if we don't receive any documentation within the next 2 weeks. And then we'll take it from there. And let's see. Next we have Hamlin's Crossing. I think the Janet, we got basically Joyce filled us in on that. Is there anything else you want to address on that?
No.
Okay. And then there's a meeting scheduled for Claybrook Road across from Lot 3 where they did the repair along the road. Can you share with us the day and time, please?
So, we last talked about scheduling a site meeting. We have an abutter across the street with a number of concerns. You've seen her emails. So we have a tentative site meeting on Friday, July 19th at 10. I'm waiting to get confirmation from the abutter on that. And as soon as I do, I'll send out that a firm date and time.
Okey-doke. Thank you. Let's see, then we have, why don't we just follow through on the Charles River watershed?
Right, so there was a meeting today, the Charles River Watershed Association's gotten a grant to work with all the communities within the watershed on drought preparedness. And so I will keep, they are just starting that off, but that could complement what we already have. So I will keep the commission updated as that progresses.
I'm meant to attend that. I lost track of time and was super busy, but if there's another meeting, let me know. And you need another person.
Okay.
Okey-doke. And why don't you continue on, Janet?
So at the last meeting, we talked about the option of using online technology, transcribing Zoom recordings, and then using AI, ChatGPT. This is something I'm on a nonprofit board, and we use this, and it's actually been very effective. So I had asked our board secretary to send me something. And I distributed what he sent me in terms of the steps. It's really pretty straightforward, I think. So I didn't know if that's something we want to perhaps try on a trial basis for some of our past meeting minutes.
So I think Laura and I touched base on this earlier this week. So Laura, was it you contacted I'm not sure who you contacted, but there was a question as to whether the Zoom contract that the town has allows us to incorporate that. Was that?
Well, I had mentioned this at the last meeting too. I had spoken to Chris Costello and he said the Zoom technology wasn't there yet and the town would have to pay extra money for me to use that. So I didn't have a chance to go through all the pages of the GBT, ChatGPT and all of that. I glanced at what Tim sent me something the day after the meeting, and I didn't have a chance to set that up for tonight. It seems like it's a way to, without getting the extra sort of paying more, to be able to still have a transcript. But you and I had talked still having Priscilla do that's so funny. So I just got a message across my screen. This meeting is being transcribed.
Oh.
I didn't set that up.
I just got
Somebody
it.
else?
I just started it because I
You
was
did?
show captions. Oh, there's a way to transcribe. So I just, and
So
at the
you just
bottom
pressed
it
a
says,
button and
it says save transcript.
yeah.
Which is
Okay.
interesting. but the fact that you can do it even though you don't actually have oversight permissions.
Means anybody can have a transcript of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That-
we'll
That's what
call
it says on the website. It
Well,
says that
because
it's free.
it's just closed captioning.
Yeah, it's an
No, no,
ADA.
no, no.
type
It's,
of
you
thing.
can get a full transcription.
I know, but I mean, it's just under the closed captioning.
Right, no, no, where you,
Taking
where
the
you went.
closed captioning and it's,
Yeah, so we'll look into that. I
So
think,
we can give that a try going forward, but John, you and I had talked about still having Priscilla pick up the backlog,
right.
whether she does it, how she does it, with the recordings or,
Well, did you mention that one of the other departments does some sort of automated transcribing? Or is it just Priscilla
there
going
are
through it?
some departments that will use either YouTube and then they go in and they adjust the transcription. And then I know that Jasmine uses something else that I've never heard of, free technology. She uses that. I haven't checked into that.
So it seems that what Lori and I talked about earlier was that there seem to be multiple avenues that the town is looking into independently, because it sounds like maybe they can't get a centralized answer. And so one of the things may be that when you get a commercial subscription, the cloud-based component that Tim referenced may not apply to commercial entities. Don't know, but we're going to so before we want to see, it sounds like some other departments may actually be using something. All this may be outside of our IT consultant, because we don't have an IT person on staff. So we're talking about taking a multi-pronged approach. Priscilla is a person that several boards, did she work in the Board of Health? Was that where she
She
worked
worked
before?
for the Board of Health and she's still doing their minutes because they haven't
Right.
filled her position yet.
And does she
And
also do minutes for somebody else?
she's doing the backlog for the Board of Selectmen minutes because Mona has a backlog too.
Okay.
And then town administrator wants Mona to, take over once they're caught up.
Mhm.
I think it's great that we look into this like a way to do this. It seems like there's about 5 different ways we can do it, but you and I had discussed still having Priscilla catch us up to date, because
Right. And
we're getting up to a year behind now. And
we were given permission by town management to proceed with that.
yes,
So I think, so we basically want to do it all. We want to, have you heard back from Priscilla?
no. And I'm going to talk to Robin, the HR person, because she's the one that originally came to me and said, Priscilla would contact me. So I want to make sure, I want to talk to her. But
So what we want to do is move this as quickly as we can on a parallel basis. We want to get a human in
Right.
there to start doing things, because she's been doing it for other boards and she's familiar with it. And at the same time, talk to the boards that seem to be using different variations of transcribing or potential AI, as well as then also looking at what Janet and what Tim have submitted. So that's an update that
I think that all sounds great. I mean, it almost sounds like the town of Dover needs a secretary, so to speak. Not
they do.
police
They
staff,
actually
not a clerk, but like somebody who is just gonna do secretary. I hate to use that word because it's so antiquated, but
Yep.
administrative person.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And in this particular instance, a full-time IT person might actually be more effective,
Right.
because they could set us up,
Right.
but we don't have that. And I don't know what the dynamic is behind that, if it's a matter of not finding the right personnel, or if they have a slot open, or how they're actually handling that. So we're going to take the bull by the horns and basically cover our bases. See what we don't want to reinvent the wheel if somebody actually has a successful method currently. So we want to find out if they do. At the same time, we want to get a human on this as quickly as possible so that we can start to catch up. And then
So
if we find
what would happen if we just tried to turn it on? Just
Well, I
turn
think
turn the transcription on.
so it's currently on now, or is that just?
No, that's
Yes,
closed
I have it
captioning.
on. I have it on.
Mine says a closed captioning transcript is being generated, but it doesn't
Mhm.
say that it's on.
So
It
that
is
should,
on.
Right, so that's if you then go back and look at the recording, it'll have the transcript, but the transcript won't be separate.
No,
It'll have
it
the closed
says
captioning, I
save
mean.
transcript at the bottom. So I think at the end I can save the transcript if I remember.
Okay.
okay.
Try
So I
it.
think the thing,
I'll-
I
I'll
mean, that's
try.
it, yeah, that's the first step to take. And then from there, we can see if what mechanism we need to generate an AI summary or something of that nature. And yeah, that one of the multimodal ways of doing this, part of it is just us doing it and seeing if where it stops. And if like what Tim said, if we have a cloud account that ostensibly gives us that ability, let's find out. We've sometimes when you talk to IT or other boards like that, their natural inclination is to say no. So let's find out. So I think that's great, Amy. Thanks for hitting that button, and then we'll follow through and check what our next stage, how far we can go with it. So we're on our way. No, regardless, we're not letting anybody hold us back. We're just going to move forward and see how far we can go in different directions. Let's see, Algonquin Gas.
Yes, so I do get emails from Jim just with questions about where they are on the process. So they're about halfway through the work off of Claybrook Road to the Charles River. I was just out there today. There was no work happening, but the site looks good. It's secure. The erosion control is secure. So I'll continue to monitor that. Next,
So I looked up, Janet, on after our last meeting, I mentioned that I thought I saw some timbers on Springdale, and I pulled up their a map of their gas lines, and actually it follows the Beaver Trail. It actually goes right on just beyond Channing Pond. It runs across Springdale and continues down, through Army Corps land all the way down to where it's where they're dealing with it at the Charles. So I still don't know what those beams were there, or if I just went by too fast to recognize them as whatever they were.
yeah, from what they submitted to us, there's no work upstream of Claybrook. This phase. But next time I'm out there, I will ask someone. There was no one on site today.
Okay, good.
Rail Trail project. The town, and I think it was Park and Rec that applied for a Mass Trail State grant for $184,000 with a town match of $47,000. And that grant is for design, engineering, and permitting of a 3.2 mile section of the rail trail. Going from the center of town on Springdale to Medfield. And the selectmen are accepting that grant at their meeting tomorrow. So there is definitely movement here. So I'm sure we'll hear more. I did just a quick review of some of the past documents. The rail trail in that section, there is no alteration or stream crossing, but they are in buffer zone. So they would need to come to us for permitting. So if they're moving forward, I would think they'll be hiring a consultant who would come and at least do an informal review with us. So
yeah, we actually did that whenever it was when we had the Rail Trail Committee about 100 years ago, it seems. And we did review it. I can't remember who we reviewed it with. It might have been Paul.
It wasn't Beals and Thompson or Beals and well, no,
Thomas. Yeah, Thomas. Yeah.
They were the ones.
Yeah, I think that made reference because I looked at the link and to the Greenway project, and it's interesting. I don't know where the $47,000 came from, and frankly, I don't want to dig that much deeper. I think it's as of 2017 on the Greenway page, it talked about the thing that made us infamous on NPR, the fact that they were going to truncate the end of the rail, so that it didn't connect with any other town. This sounds like they are looking to take it all the way to Medfield. But until we have somebody come in front of us and tell us, we'll find out. And then I would probably expect us, once we get updated by somebody who's done some of this in terms of whatever consultant they use, then we'll I think it would be helpful to have a vote and issue a letter of confidence, or some such thing, in terms of that. Now that we have Sarah on our side, so
I know, I've turned my corner.
Yep. So I think it's exciting. I think it's kind of interesting how we haven't. Everything seemed to have been done very quietly. We hadn't really heard much about it, but I think it's exciting. So let's see as it where it continues. And let's see. Then Janet, you had a newsletter regarding mosquito control.
Yes, so you all got a copy of that. If you have any comments or revisions, if you could send those to me by the 15th, that would be great. So that would be in the August town newsletter. And then
Will do.
I'm sorry.
I think Anna, you said will do.
Yeah.
But it's July, July 15th is when you want the edits by.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay,
Which is 5 days.
right.
Okay.
And then two other things that have come up. You'll recall on 15 Grand Hill Drive, we had issued an enforcement order. Some trees had been cut.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly sure where they were, but they were placed in a wetland. And the homeowner sent us an email with some concerns. So I have set up a site inspection. I sent an email out on that. That's this Friday at 5 p.m. So John, is
Okay.
can you make it on this Friday at 5?
Yeah, that's only good. So on the 12th, Friday at 5. Yeah. Absolutely, I'll try to make that. What's the address there?
15
15
Grand Hill
And-
Drive.
Grand Hill. Okay.
I
Yeah.
unfortunately have a funeral down on the Cape, so I'm not gonna be able to
Oh,
make that.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh. That's all I'm doing right now. It's just, we all are at that stage.
Which is interesting. 'Cause my daughter is at the age where everyone's getting married.
Which
so
is,
it's-
I keep saying, I just want weddings and babies. I don't want
Good.
funerals anymore. I just want weddings and babies. This is just crazy.
Okay, site visit trees. Okay.
I think-
Yeah, I'll so Janet, you'll if you don't hear from me, I'll be going. Okay.
Okay, very
And
good.
okay, and
Indicated she should make it too.
what's that?
Anna indicated she could make it as well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I
Great.
can be there.
Excellent. Okay, and was there a last thing?
Yes, the last thing was an email I just sent out like an hour ago on 143 Dedham. This is
Mhm.
in Corrals horse facility.
Mhm.
Was out for the pre-inspection, the pre-construction inspection today. That went fine. They've identified 13 trees. They had an arborist review recently. And so there's 13 trees, either dead or decline. They'd like to have approval to remove in the buffer. They also are doing an invasive management plan and would like permission to do some limited herbicide cut and dab on bittersweet. So Mark Cooperman asked if I would ask you if that requires administrative approval, just my approval, or a minor modification. My recommendation.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
My recommendation is, I think he needs to come in and talk to the full commission. I'm not comfortable approving those.
So the tree aspect, could you see the trees from your site visit?
Yes, but I didn't really have time to read. He handed me the arborist report and I just time to review it.
Mhm.
Our next meeting is in 2 weeks, so.
So what's their time frame? When did he say when they were actually hoping to start? Because I know it's been a long haul for them.
My approval at the construction meeting was the last step. So they will be going for their building permit now. They have everything else is in order.
So can they, subject to those two items you mentioned, are they able to get their building permit?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so one of the things I wanted to bring up in the letter that Mark had sent was, they would, bring a crane in to take down those trees, so there'd be no, they wouldn't be within the buffer at all. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay, and they would need a vote, it's beyond your tree limit there. And so the question is, given the size of the project and so forth, whether you feel that you need to review the arborist letter before we could allow that, or is there, because I doubt they'd be running into their 50% concerns there.
Right, that is true. I think if the commission's comfortable with approving it, but usually I would say this rises to the level of a minor modification. And follow our usual process. We get, something in writing, which we've gotten, but it's usually a week before a meeting, and there is a small fee, and it goes on the agenda, just so there's,
So in terms of, because I know I've run into this recently, getting cranes, especially with all the storms that we've had, it's very difficult to schedule them. So that if they can schedule something sooner rather than later, I can understand their, the concerns there. And I'm familiar with the property and so forth. The idea of voting on their ability to do so, but requiring the minor modification to follow. Is that something that seems like we could walk down the middle on?
yes, that seems reasonable.
I'm fine with
Okay.
that too.
Okay, then I will entertain a motion.
I'm for that. One quick
sorry.
question. Do they have to do a waiver for the herbicides, or did we already?
Oh, well, I'm so it's interesting. I didn't mention that because I think have they submitted an invasives management plan as part of their plan?
Yes, so it was a detailed plan, and we required only manual hand removal, but they could come back and ask for a waiver.
Right, and so I think that's appropriate, and that's also something that's not as time sensitive as the trees and the that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I would view those as two separate things, and I think we want a formal request for that.
Yeah.
So so I would entertain a motion to allow for the trees to be removed via a crane as requested.
You are so moved.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, let me finish. With the understanding that a minor modification would be submitted in writing. Okay.
Okay, so moved.
Okay,
Second,
thank you. All in favor, Anna,
Aye.
Sarah,
aye.
Amy,
Hi.
Tim?
Aye.
Okay. So can you convey that, Janet?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up?
It occurred to me. Anyone mind if I emailed the photos of the bog bridge to Chris Costello to put on Facebook?
No, absolutely
Okay.
not.
Let's do that.
Can I have a motion and a second, and we'll close the great. So thank you very much, everyone. And now, given how much shorter our meetings are now running, can people go out and try to enlist other people to become commission members?
I know, we need some new ones. We definitely need some new ones. I mean,
Need some
I love
additional.
additional,
Yeah.
not new. That's what I meant. Like
Mhm.
additional.
Yeah.
So so now we have a we're rolling along new and improved. Of course, only 2 people a night. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. And hearing no objection, tonight's meeting is adjourned.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Hey, everybody.
Everyone.
Night,
Thanks.
everyone. Thanks,
Okay.
everyone. Bye-bye.